There's a lot of pharmaceuticals involved with Kanye. There's a lot of interesting special doctors with special medicines. Special doctors with special medicines. Special doctors with special medicines.
So in the run-up to this week's midterm elections, there are a lot of celebrities out there campaigning for Democratic candidates all over the country. You probably saw them, actors, singers, TikTok personalities, all doing their part for the Democratic Party. You probably weren't surprised by this. It's normal. Pop culture figures always support Democrats. Every single one of them. But have you ever wondered why all of these supposedly creative people reach exactly the same conclusion every time? They're all on the same page. How could that happen? It's an interesting question. We don't know the answer, but you should consider what happened when one of the most famous singers in the world broke with the herd.
Now, press, get ready to write your passive aggressive, LeBron James, racist comments.
November 19th, 2016, a week and a half after Donald Trump won the presidential election, Kanye West, now known as Ye, held a concert in Sacramento. Most people in the audience were, of course, young people and presumably Hillary Clinton voters and presumably deeply disappointed by her loss a week and a half before. So in the middle of the show, West stopped performing and started talking about politics. Google lied to you, he said, by suggesting to its users that Hillary was going to win. Quote, Facebook lied to you. I'm not here to massage you with a fake truth telling you that Hillary's going to win over and over and over. You were lied to by Google. You were lied to by Mark Zuckerberg. Middle America, West continued, showed you how they felt. Well, at this point, some of the audience began to boo, but West kept going. He complimented Donald Trump repeatedly. At one point, he used the phrase, "Make America Great Again." It was, to put it mildly, not the kind of thing you normally hear at a rap concert. And then, 2 days later, Kanye West was in the hospital.
Define it for me. What is the mechanism that is malfunctioning or is taking a break in your brain? Do you know?
I wouldn't be able to explain that as much, just, because I'm not a doctor. I can just tell you what I'm feeling at the time. And I feel a heightened connection with the universe when I'm ramping up. It is a health issue. This is like a sprained brain, like having a sprained ankle. And if someone has a sprained ankle, you're not gonna push on him more.
Right.
With us, once our brain gets to a point of spraining, people do everything to make it worse.
A lot of people applauding him for speaking out, saying that it could certainly help others. Did you understand what he was saying? You agree with what he's saying?
I am applauding him and every other celebrity that comes out and talks about their mental health illness. Because this is a real struggle for so many Americans. 1 in 5 Americans, our husbands, our children, our friends are dealing with this. And many of them are suffering in silence. They're suffering with shame and guilt. They're suffering alone. And they're not getting the care and the treatment that they need.
And you can't see mental illness.
You cannot. And that's part of the issue, I think. It's not a tumor or a mass that you can see. It's not a plaque in a heart artery that I can show you. But the pain is real, and some have described the pain as being worse than the worst physical pain you can possibly imagine.
Well, at the house of his family's exercise trainer, a man called Harley Pasternak, West apparently suffered some kind of mental break. Pasternak called an ambulance to pick him up. West was taken away, and then he was sedated with at least 7 different psychiatric medications, including benzodiazepines, lithium, sleeping pills, and olanzapine. News reports suggested that West had experienced a profound psychiatric episode. He'd gone completely off the deep end. He'd gone crazy, and they've been saying that ever since.
This is a trainer, but come to find out, he's actually Canadian intelligence, but this is my trainer. So this shows you the kind of handlers that are around the superstars in California, right? So it says, I'm going to help you one of a couple ways. First, you and I sit down and have a loving and open conversation, but you don't use cuss words. And everything that is discussed is based in fact, and not some crazy stuff that dumb friend of yours told you or you saw in a tweet. Second option, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to zombie land forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same. This is the way a Hollywood trainer was talking to me to force me to go and like apologize. You think about if Harley was part of intelligence, right? What kind of people you think are surrounding my kids? What kind of people you think are in that house?
West, over time, though, told a very different story. In his telling, after what he'd said on stage in Sacramento, Harley Pasternak was trying to shut him up. Pasternak, he said, was not simply a trainer, but instead an agent of ideological control. Pasternak's job was to keep West from straying from the script, and he's willing to use powerful drugs to do it. That's what he said.
There's a lot of pharmaceuticals involved with Kanye. There's a lot of interesting special doctors with special medicines. If he had told everybody a little sooner, now they're trying to get him fixed and all set up for a conservatorship. See, that's the problem when it comes to serving God. You can't do it halfway. You got to go all in.
But very few people took that claim seriously. In fact, it was exactly the kind of thing a crazy person would say. My trainer drugged me into submission. He's trying to make me into a zombie. Right. Sure he did. Have another olanzapine shot, Kanye. You look tired. So that's where the story stood until the other day. Nobody believed Kanye West. Then West posted something remarkable on Twitter, which for some reason virtually all of American media ignored, which is odd because media outlets are not usually in the business of ignoring remarkable things, but they did. And what he posted was a picture of a text exchange that he had had with Harley Pasternak. Pasternak was explaining that West had better stop saying, quote, crazy stuff. In other words, he'd better get back on script, or else he would be severely punished. Quote, second option, if you don't shut up, quote, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you, and you go back to zombie land forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same.
So psychiatric mind control is there's actually a psychiatrist or a doctor right there interacting one-on-one with the person who's the target of the subject. The more kind of general global mind control just works by control of the media, control of information, disinformation, propaganda. And I think our culture basically is run like that. It's very pervasive. The basic gist of behaviorism is Pavlov's dog experiment, where you have the dog that eats its meal and it salivates when you put the meat out. Then when you ring a bell at the same time, the bell gets paired with the salivation.
Pasternak, he said, was not simply a trainer, but instead an agent of ideological control. Pasternak's job was to keep West from straying from the script, and he's willing to use powerful drugs to do it.
The documentation on G.H. Estabrooks, who was a contractor during the Second World War, proves that active mind control experimentation was already going on in the 1941 to 1945 timeframe. The Office of Strategic Services, which is the precursor of the CIA, was studying different types of drugs, interrogation techniques, and G.H. Estabrooks was creating super spies, Manchurian candidates, using hypnosis and other techniques that were used operationally during the war. And the OSS then was shut down at the end of the war, and most of the personnel then became the new CIA in 1947. And the CIA's programs begin in 1950 and run forward to 1973, and then after 1973, everything is classified.
Pasternak, he said, was not simply a trainer, but instead an agent of ideological control. Pasternak's job was to keep West from straying from the script, and he's willing to use powerful drugs to do it.
This term Jekyll-Hyde personality is used repeatedly by G.H. Estabrooks. He, at various times, did seminars on military uses of hypnosis and creating the super spy on a variety of different military bases. In 1943, in his textbook Hypnotism, and as late as 1971 in an article in a magazine called Science Digest, he describes creating Manchurian candidates, which is artificial multiple personality, just like the Bourne identity, during the Second World War for operational use on contract the Army. He would create, there's Jones A as the original guy, then he would create Jones B. which he called a Jekyll-Hyde personality. So he used this phrase Jekyll-Hyde personality quite a lot. And an example of an operation would be Jones is called in to see this colonel, and the colonel has been told what the hypnotically implanted code word is. It's "the moon is clear."
Steve. Which Bucky am I talking to?
Your mom's name is Sarah. He used to wear newspapers in his shoes.
Can't read that in the museum. Just like that, we're supposed to be cool?
What did I do?
Enough.
Oh, God, I knew this would happen. Everything Hydra put inside me is still there. All you had to do was say the goddamn words.
I want to start with Ye, Kanye West. You know, I've got to say, personally, I know that you've had a good relationship with him. You've talked to him and so on, as I have done. I interviewed him, tried to give him a bit of benefit of the doubt over various things. I got to say, his sort of brazen stuff now on a daily, sometimes minute-by-minute basis on X with the swastikas, the Nazis, and so on. I just find it utterly repellent. Has anything he's been doing in the last 2-3 weeks changed your mind about what's going on here with him?
Okay, so first I just want to say that I definitely told your producers that I didn't want to speak about Ye, but it's totally fine if you want to ask me the question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that. Well, that wasn't communicated
Yeah.
to me, but if you don't mind, I'd just be curious about your view.
Yeah, sure. So my view has been pretty consistent in that when you have a real relationship with someone, you shouldn't be lashing them in the public for anything. There's something about the entire world having commentary about Kanye when he tweets, and that exact same part of the world telling us that we have to remain mum when Bibi Netanyahu literally goes DEFCON 3, but Kanye tweets something about DEFCON 3. That just makes me uncomfortable and feels really disingenuous. And like I said, when you have an actual relationship with someone, if you have anything to say to them, you should say that to that person directly. And so I'm just not going to partake in this sort of like Judas culture of stabbing people in the front when you have a real relationship with them. And I've maintained that consistently, and I'm not going to break that code today.
I mean, some would say, look, I just want to play this clip and get your response to this. I mean, this is him doing, Ku Klux Klan imagery with swastikas and so on. It's so brazen. It's so taunting. And you talk about people who are directly attacking people. He's directly attacking Jewish people when he does this and making them feel extremely uncomfortable, extremely threatened by this, because he's got 32 million people following him on X alone. His social media firepower to galvanize hate against the Jewish people is being laid bare, isn't it, in real time?
Just a question for you. When you saw the Klansman hoodie, why did you say taunting against Jewish people but didn't mention anything about black people? Yeah, but it's just interesting that of the two things you chose to lean into Jewish people and not to speak about what the Klansman hood represents.
So this guy comes in, he thinks that he's being sent to Tokyo on a routine, unclassified courier assignment. He's given the assignment, and then the military guy in Washington goes, "The moon is clear." Jones B comes out, the military guy in Washington gives him the classified information, flips him back to his regular self. He flies over to Tokyo. The colonel at the far end says, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you, thank you." That's the above board assignment. The guy at the far end says, "The moon is clear." Out comes Jones B, gives him the information, the response is inserted, back he goes. And he describes these guys having complete amnesia for the operation.
Pasternak, he said, was not simply a trainer, but instead an agent of ideological control. Pasternak's job was to keep West from straying from the script, and he's willing to use powerful drugs to do it.
And we tried to figure out, how did the Communist Chinese get them to make those false confessions? So we're the good guys, and we're only doing that defensively.
Project Bluebird was signed into operation in April 1950 by the director of the CIA, 3 months before the Korean War started. And then it ran for a few years, and then it was rolled over into Artichoke. So Project Bluebird, Project Artichoke are really kind of the same thing. The Artichoke team did interrogations on US soil using the so-called Artichoke technique. And the Artichoke technique involved IV alcohol and drugs, interrogations, safe houses, a variety of different techniques. And the purpose was to try and extract information from a foreign person that was being interrogated. And it also describes erasing memories and implanting false memories that will act as a cover for what really happened. There's a heading in some of the Bluebird documents called The Problem of Disposal of Subjects, what to do with people. And it discusses killing them or the option of using the artichoke technique to erase their memories. MKUltra was part of a series, so it went from Bluebird in 1950 into Artichoke, into MKUltra in the 50s, which ran into the 60s, and then it was rolled over into MK Search, which ran into the early 70s. So it's kind of a continuous series of programs. And MKUltra itself was divided into 149 sub-projects.
There's actually 4 MKUltra sub-projects on children. This is sub-project 103 in 1959, the Children's International Summer Village. The investigator got money through Human Ecology or one of the other front organizations. I think it was Human Ecology. And apparently legitimately didn't know it was CIA money. All these kids are brought there to be at a summer camp. And the academic was studying how kids communicate when they don't share a common language. That was the project. The purpose of the project is to establish a relationship with young foreign nationals who may be of future interest to the agency.
Try if you can to imagine a more sinister threat than that, a more chilling threat than that. Do what I say or I will turn your brain to mush. I will destroy your relationship with your own children. I will send you back to, quote, zombie land forever. Effectively, I'll kill you. Now keep in mind, this is from West's, quote, trainer, not his physician. This is the guy he'd hired to help him do squats. A trainer? Really? Did they talk like that at your gym? Probably not. So what's going on here exactly? Well, according to his bio, Harley Pasternak, who is not denied writing these texts, once worked for the Canadian military, where he participated in experiments that measured the effect of various drugs on the human mind. Is that training relevant to this story? We don't know. We do know that based on this text exchange, which again, Harley Pasternak has not said is untrue or fake, on the basis of that, law enforcement agencies definitely ought to be looking very closely at Harley Pasternak, who, by the way, apparently has dozens of other celebrity clients, some of whom seem to be out there campaigning. Based on these texts, this looks like a crime. Why is no one investigating it? The fact that no one is investigating it tells you a lot.
So this guy comes in, he thinks that he's being sent to Tokyo on a routine, unclassified courier assignment.
Yo, texting with Kanye is ridiculous. First of all, yesterday, so I come all the way to Los Angeles, and I'm expected to do this like elaborate interview with Ye. It turns into exactly what you see online. So Kanye says, yo, check this out. Yo, someone knocked on my door. I can't, I'm not doing anything today. He goes to check in at a hotel. The screenshots are online. Nothing I'm saying is made up. Someone texted him, I think it's his manager or something, like, yo, if you feel unsafe, go to the hotel. He basically hits me, says, yo, they're trying to put me in the hospital, they're trying to kill me, and I have to get out of here and I have to get to Japan. He says, yo, they're trying to put me in the hospital, they're trying to kill me, and I have to get out of here and I have to get to Japan. He says, yo, they're trying to put me in the hospital, they're trying to kill me, and I have to get out of here and I have to get to Japan.
I have to get out of here and I have to get to Japan.
I have to get out of here and I have to get to Japan. Apparently, Japan, China is the only place where this guy feels safe.
So this guy comes in, he thinks that he's being sent to Tokyo on a routine, unclassified courier assignment.
Censorship, and even you say, I still say the F word, just you've been throwing it around like you don't give a damn. How do you feel about people, speech is censored a lot. What we could say, it feels like you're trying to take off those shackles, and it's like you said woke is dead.
Yeah. Sorry, I was supposed to leave 18 minutes ago.
Oh. So you're going to Japan for real?
Don't drop the location.
So, what's out there? I know you had wanted me to come to China. I was just it feels so far away, and culture, what are you seeing? You just tell me, what's on that side of the world? I've never been.
Just a question for you. When you saw the Klansman hoodie, why did you say taunting against Jewish people but didn't mention anything about black people? Yeah, but It's just interesting that of the two things you chose to lean into Jewish people and not to speak about what the Klansmanhood represents.
I mean, so like the whole thing about, and even whether it's the outfit, the swastika, I think some people like, they feel like you're spreading hate.
If I go to your house for an interview and you come out dressed normal, and we kick it for a second, and you say,
I'll be right back.
All right, be right back. And then I watch you walk in the little side room, and then you come out, where the fuck did me and Sade go for our Halloween outfits, them little pop-up shops?
Spirit.
Yeah, Spirit.
Yeah.
And then you come out in the Spirit black KKK outfit. I cannot stand here and talk to you.
I'm leaving. No, you're
quick.
No, I'm leaving. Nah,
I'm hitting you.
I'm out. Not in the content game. You're not leaving.
I have to punch you in the face. I have to.
I mean, so like the whole thing about, and even whether it's the outfit, the swastika, I think some people like, they feel like you're spreading hate.
You mean to tell me Kanye ain't got one auntie or cousin? That cousins and aunties don't cost no money. They just there to help you stay on track. Like everybody, no matter how much money you need that one person at the bottom of the stairs that tell you something. Like Kanye coming down the stairs, yay, what you got on? Huh? You're not gonna wear that Spider-Man today. Go back upstairs and put on something else. I wanna be Spider-Man. No, yay, go upstairs now and try something else. Next day he come downstairs. Yay, what you got on? Why you got on a black Klansman? What? Go upstairs.
I mean, so like the whole thing about, and even whether it's the outfit, the swastika, I think some people like, they feel like you're spreading hate.
Kanye. Yay. Oh, a black Klansman outfit. That's what we doing now? Is this a Klansman outfit courtesy of Balenciaga? I don't know, because you always wear designer. Is it Balenciaga? Huh? Is it Clan Couture? Is that gonna be in the new fashion week in September? Clan Couture by Kanye? Oh man, I know you've seen the interview. I don't know, DJ Academics, who's also crazy. This is the first time I've seen him kind of shocked. He goes, I thought I was crazy, but damn, a black Klansman outfit. And he's going off, and Kanye's going off on everybody. I just thought it was hilarious that he was going off on Jay-Z and all kinds of other black people with his Klans outfit on.
Before I get started, I want to be clear that I am not a Kanye West apologist, but I do stand on truth regardless of the vessel. Now I know the latest antics by Kanye West or Ye with wearing what appears to be a KKK robe and hoodie don't sit well with anyone from our community, and rightfully so. I purposely use video clips to lay the baseline of this discussion without providing commentary from me. See, Kanye West has always been unfiltered, but for me, I was curious of what triggered what seemed to be a very over-the-top behavior of someone in his position. After researching and reviewing a number of videos such as the Tucker Carlson video about the Stay on Code, based on the text messages between Kanye and his personal trainer at that time, it confirmed questions that I have about the entire situation.
Pasternak, he said, was not simply a trainer, but instead an agent of ideological control. Pasternak's job was to keep West from straying from the script, and he's willing to use powerful drugs to do it.
Judging by the reactions from celebrities like comedian Godfrey and Bill Bellamy, it's clear that most of them are completely unaware of the deeper implications behind what I'm about to share. Yes, they're on code. But the real question is, who wrote the code? Who is the programmer? What if I told you that our entire community has been hacked mentally, culturally, and spiritually? See, I originally planned to tackle this topic in a live discussion, but as I gathered the information and began assembling this presentation, it became clear that the subject deserved a more structured approach, something closer to a documentary. So let's begin by unpacking the controversy surrounding the so-called KKK outfit Kanye was seen wearing.
I mean, so like the whole thing about, and even whether it's the outfit, the swastika, I think some people like, they feel like they're spreading hate.
This could be anywhere in mainland Spain. I've only been to Spain one time, but this could be Madrid, this could be Barcelona. I thought in the U.S. that made this outfit kind of unpopular. It's still rolling with it in Spain, apparently.
I mean, so like the whole thing about, and even whether it's the outfit, the swastika, I think some people like, they feel like they're spreading hate.
Ivi soli peccavi e mal ancora te feci, ut justificeris in sermoni costui, et vincas cum judicari. Ecce iniquitatibus conceptus sum.
I mean, so like the whole thing about, and even whether it's the outfit, the swastika, I think some people like, they feel like they're spreading hate.
The pointed hood Kanye is wearing is actually called a capirote. It's a traditional Catholic Christian garment worn during Semana Santa in Spain, Italy, and various Hispanic countries.
The diversity of celebrations in Spain is infinite. Participants in the processions wear penitential robes with cloaks over them. Some, but not all, wear capirotes on their heads to hide their faces. Capirotes are hoods with conical tips. The hoods symbolize penitence and anonymity before God. The similarity of some of the clothing to that worn by the Ku Klux Klan in the United States leads some foreign visitors to react with horror. But it is important to clarify that Holy Week dress in Spain long predates the existence of the Ku Klux Klan. Whether the racist American organization copied the style of the Spanish penitents, we do not know, but the clothing worn during Holy Week in Spain has nothing to do with the Ku Klux Klan.
So to the celebrities who are so outraged by Kanye's outfit, I issue a challenge. Travel to Spain during the Semana Santa, in other words, Holy Week or Easter week, and see if you keep that same energy when you witness entire Catholic processionals wearing the same attire, especially after learning how these very garments were worn during the Spanish Inquisition, which was a period our ancestors, in which they are called Black Jews, were persecuted, tortured, enslaved, and executed it all in the name of the Christian Catholic Church and forcing them to embrace their religion. So let's see if they keep that same energy when they discover that individuals like Dana Barrows, a man of Jewish descent, held high-ranking positions within the Ku Klux Klan and proudly wore these very garments.
Now, this may come as a surprise to you, but as many as 10,000 Jews served in the Confederate Army, and they served bravely. There was Adolf Proskauer, a recent immigrant from Poland who fought at Seven Pines, Chancellorsville, Gettysburg, and Spotsylvania. Wounded at least 3 times, he just couldn't kill this guy. Then there was Louis Leon, also a recent immigrant, this time from Germany, who was one of the few survivors from his brigade who fought at Gettysburg. Now, he was real hardcore, and 50 years after the battle, he had this to say in his memoirs: "I still say our cause was just, nor do I regret one thing that I have done to cripple the North." But there's one Confederate who in some ways topped them all. Judah Benjamin was born in the West Indies, grew up in South Carolina, and made his way to New Orleans, where he also made his fortune as an innovative sugarcane plantation owner with 140 slaves.
The more kind of general global mind control just works by control of the media, control of information, disinformation, propaganda, and I think our culture basically is run like that.
When Jefferson Davis became the Confederacy's president, he made Judah Benjamin his Attorney General in 1861, then Secretary of War in 1862, and finally Secretary of State. Now, along the way, Judah appeared on the Confederacy's $2 bill. As Secretary of State, Judah Benjamin led the effort to tempt Britain and France into recognizing the Confederacy. But when the Union gained the upper hand in the Civil War, Lord Palmerston and Napoleon III chose not to take the bait, in part because neither really could stomach recognizing a slave-holding nation. Knowing this, Judah Benjamin played his last card. The only way the South could survive would be to free at least those slaves who agreed to fight for the Confederacy.
The more kind of general global mind control just works by control of the media, control of information, disinformation, propaganda, and I think our culture basically is run like that.
I mean, anti-Semitic statements are never good for anybody, right? It's kind of like being anti-black.
But, you know, it's really interesting. I didn't realize that I could be considered anti-Semitic till I read one of the definitions of anti-Semitism. Look at this. The definition says, making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews as such, or the power of Jews as a collective, such as, especially, but not exclusively. This sounds like a, I'm let them go by. All right, so it says, think about it, that sounds like the type wording that's in the contracts, right?
Indeed.
Okay, it says, such as, especially, but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions.
Isn't that what you said? That Jews run everything?
Yeah, but that actually is considered to be anti-Semitic.
Right.
So I didn't realize that it was anti-Semitic to say, hey, you know, I have a Jewish attorney, I have a Jewish record label, I have a Jewish contractor, I have a
Do you
Jewish...
regret your statements? Or the statements you think you should be walking back? I mean, considering...
What do you mean walking back?
Well, you know, backing up off of them. I mean, the thing is, you've lost a lot of endorsements. People are dropping you. You're getting, you know, vilified. You know, I mean, you might think you're right, but I think, you know, there's a whole world out there that's condemning you for what you said.
Okay, so this right here is a chart of Universal Studios, 20th Century Fox, ABC News, CBS News, Columbia Pictures, Warner Brothers, ESPN Sports, Fox News, Washington Post, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MTV Music Television, Nickelodeon, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Comedy Central, NBC Entertainment, Google, what else do we have? Disney, ABC Kids and Family, YouTube, Los Angeles Times, Discovery Network, Paramount Pictures, Facebook, Huffington Post, Yahoo, Marvel, Hulu, Cosmopolitan, Time, Touchstone, Associated Press, Pixar, Miramax, HBO, New York Post, LucasArts, MSNBC, DreamWorks Animation. Now the thing is, I skipped over maybe about 5 of them because it was just unclear on this list. The red are the executives that are Jewish at these companies.
Do you think they stuck together when they heard what you said? Was that what happened?
The more kind of general global mind control just works by control of the media, control of information, disinformation, propaganda. And I think our culture basically is run like that.
To all my Jewish friends, my Jewish brothers and sisters, stand tall. Stand tall. Do not let this fear, this sadness, this anxiety, and this dread overwhelm you. Draw strength from your family, from your friends, from your ancestors, and the worldwide bond that we share that has always put the battery in your back. We're used to being looked at as different because that's what we are. We are different, and that's a good thing. I know that Jews are looked at as weak, but we're stronger than you can imagine. That's why you hurl propaganda. We control all the money. We control the media because it's plausible. It's plausible because we're just that good. Smart, compassionate, moral, and strong people. And we need to stand taller than ever against all those sick, dumb, uneducated black tar in their blood who hate Jews because they ain't. You hate us because you ain't us.
The more kind of general global mind control just works by control of the media, control of information, disinformation, propaganda. And I think our culture basically is run like that.
So the Gray Zone managed to get their hands on some shocking, newly leaked audio from a private AIPAC meeting. Now, AIPAC, if you've been living under a rock, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, and is a pro-Israel lobbying group. Now, what this audio shows is a group of AIPAC members, including the leader of AIPAC, boasting how they have special access to Trump's national security officials, including the now head of the CIA.
The more kind of general global mind control just works by control of the media, control of information, disinformation, propaganda. And I think our culture basically is run like that.
My problem with what you've said, I'll be straight with you, is that if I, as a white man, posted tomorrow on my Instagram, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on black people, what would you think?
Jew.
No, if I said black people, what would you think? If that was what I posted?
Well, did you accept that black people, you accepted that black people are Jew? Or
I'll come to that in a moment.
If you are not one of us, you are one of them.
What are they?
Sentient programs. They can move in and out of any software still hardwired to their system. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent. Inside the Matrix, they are everyone, and they are no one. We have survived by hiding from them, by running from them. But they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors, they are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later, someone is going to have to fight them.
When I said DEFCON 3, I didn't get an opportunity to say what that meant, but it meant I'm going to call out all these things that have been done to me specifically by Jewish people that so happen to be businessmen or businesswomen, but still it was done by Jewish people to me, to the darker Jew, and I was going to go one by one. And the reason I said it like that is just to say, I know you guys are going to call this anti-Semite, and I'm not afraid of that title. Now I'm going to lean into that title.
What's your thoughts? Please be respectful with your comments. Also, please click the like, click the notification bell, and subscribe to this channel.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14 verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was Abraham, born in the city of a black man called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.